It is March the 27th, 2021. I'm Andy, and this is the Minorcan Mullet Report from the Golden Ray Wreck Site, the St.simons Sound. We made it out to the port today, and we got some pretty good drone footage. But first of all, we're going to stop out at the site, and we got out there today, and we could see that the suspension straps, those 4 points coming down from the center of the VB 10,000, were attached to the Golden Ray to those lifting lugs, and the offshore side or east cutting block had been attached to the chain, and it looked like they were working on trying to get the inshore or west side attached. It sounded to us on the radio traffic they were trying to work something into position. They had some divers involved. Hopefully that'll get done soon. We did notice while all this was going on that the straps coming down from the VB 10,000 onto the Golden Ray had a pretty significant lean to them. They were kind of pulled. It looked like the VB is kind of pulled back. We got some close-up shots that are coming with that. You can kind of understand what we're talking about. This may be. We've seen it before. As a matter of fact, on section 7, when they were working on that, we kind of saw these straps at an angle with the VB not quite centered where it should be over those. And we think maybe this is an effort to help get the chain guided where it's got to be to get back into that original cut so that they can get started on that again. It's kind of a foggy morning today when we got out. Didn't get out quite as early as we want because we had some really thick fog in coastal Georgia, but it turned out to be a really nice day, warm day, very light winds. The sound was very docile, a very pleasant place to be today. And that's why we decided to go over to the port and fly the drone. It was just the weather had gotten just so nice into the early afternoon. But here we got some shots coming up, and we're going to show you exactly what we mean about those straps and how they were pretty obvious angle. It looked like they were had the VB kind of pushed back more to the stern than it should have been. But again, we think this is probably an effort to get that chain lined up and get it worked into that groove where they had originally started on it. If you remember back, when they started on section 7, they cut on it for a month and wound up having some trouble and stopped there and went to the bow section of the ship and cut off that section 2. And they've had that lifted, and now it looks like they're getting in a position, hopefully, start soon on that, and maybe even as quick as tomorrow if they get all those chains hooked up and in position. Well, here we see the dry docks. These are 2 of the 4 that Unified Command had said that they're going to bring in. And we can see that it looks like we saw a lot of activity going on these things a couple weeks ago. And we can see now that they have constructed a cradle on that first set of dry docks. We think this is going to be for Section 7. Section 7 still has a little bit of that curve to the hull, and we think that this cradle has been laid out onto this dry dock piece to receive that Section 3, and it looks like the cribbing has been fastened down on the dry dock that is behind that one. And of course, we think that ship, that part of the ship is going to be flat enough that it'll just be able to sit down on this dry dock. Now, as we looked back up the port towards the north at the rest of the operation, this is the dry docks are positioned at that area that's cleaned out that we thought they were going to be processing the cars. That's this cleared area here on the other side of these pylons. We haven't seen that utilized yet. They still have the equipment in place over there, but haven't seen them utilize it yet. And we look back towards the north, and we see that section number 2 still on the Julie B. barge. And we kind of flew over and just looked at all this equipment and took some time to kind of take a look at what we had there. You know, they had a boat out with some containment boom. It looks like they were getting ready to move some of that boom into position around maybe some of the barges that were there in the port. But here we can see the Ashton T. It's the big blue crew boat, and we see that runs more of the heavier type material out to the site. She was docked up there along a couple of the barges, and some of these barges we've seen during maintenance out at the site. Then we see the Julie B with the Section 2 on it. The Caitlin, she's there. And came back around. We went down and took a look at the kind of the whole operation. We see the Pacific Horizon, the big heavy lifting crane and barge. That's really the mammoth crane barge on the project. And this barge has been in the Port of Brunswick for quite a while. We did see it out of the site when they were requiring some heavy lifting to set those lugs into place and weld those. And this is the car removal area that we saw yesterday. They were taking the cars off of the spud barges and putting them on those trucks. And we can see the blue grapple machine there on the barge, a couple of the other tugs. I think the Crosby Star, the Kurt J. Crosby there, just on the edge of the frame. But this is quite a bit of the port that the wreck removal group, the whole salvage operation has. You can kind of see the scope of this thing and the amount of equipment that they have here in the Port of Brunswick. Now, the Pacific Horizon, again, that massive crane barge, one thing that they have on deck that we're just fascinated with is the claw, the debris removal piece that I guess they'll attach to that crane. It's also hydraulically powered. You can see the big blue hydraulic cylinders that open and close that claw. Here it is, and we think this will be utilized in the operation for some of that removal of that debris that's fallen out of the ship and on the floor of the St.simons Sound. We think that's what this piece is going to be used for, and possibly in the event of the collapse of the Golden Ray. We've heard from several engineers say that's inevitable. Maybe it'll be utilized for there in the event that happens. We'll wait and see. Well, we got some footage here coming up of the actual section number 2 as we do a flyover and check it out. You guys enjoy this. And we also noticed this hopper barge that's alongside the Julie B. It looks like they've been placing some of that debris, the stuff that's kind of spilling out of this section 2. Looks like that's where they're collecting this stuff into this hopper barge, and looked like they had quite a bit of debris in there. But we know that before the sections have left for Gibson, Louisiana, which is where they're headed, over to the Mars facility in the Gulf of Mexico in Gibson, LA. But they have to go through a pretty extensive procedure cleaning them up and getting all the loose vehicles and debris that might shift and come out during transit. And they C-fasten, they weld this section to that actual barge itself. And we've seen some video of that where that was taking place. But all this is in preparation for getting this piece ready for the trip over to the Gulf of Mexico. And like we said, a beautiful afternoon today in coastal Georgia, and that leads to people getting out and enjoying the beach. And this is one of our favorite spots to go to at the north end of Jekyll Island. I just want to give this shot and let you see a lot of folks out on the beach. And of course, we see the wreck site just pretty much right there. It's very close to the beach there. Well, hey, that's about it for today. We'll ask you that if you haven't done it yet, to hit that subscribe button. Send us some comments. Most of all, we want you guys to stay safe out there.